Let's get to know a little bit about lettering and stitch and sew, which is you'll find just as easy as the digitizing. Simply click on lettering to enter lettering mode, causing the lettering control panel to appear across the top of the program. And in doing so, we can proceed from left to right, following all the directions until our lettering is done. We'll go ahead and we'll type in some text. And what happens is the letters appear immediately in whatever font that we use last. So what Stitch and Sew is trying to do for you is remember what you did last, just in case you want to do a lot of that, so that you don't have to be clicking around any more than necessary. Now, after we've typed in our font, on to the right, again proceeding left to right, you can then choose from one of 72 fonts that are available that come with the program. And as you'll find out, you can also add to the font collection later on. But we do have an impressive collection of fonts, from fonts that sew well at small sizes, to multicolor fonts, to all of the major font styles such as sans serif block type fonts, large and small rounded ends, to foot type fonts, or what are called serif fonts like Times New Roman, and also script and semi-script type fonts, as well as more decorative fonts like block or floral, or university or college type fonts that are excellent for sports applications, as well as a few monogramming fonts too. So there's quite a bit of flexibility built into the font collection that comes with Stitch and Sew. Also bear in mind that we'll be showing you shortly is the ability to bring in Windows TrueType fonts as well, so your flexibility is limitless as far as your options. We'll go ahead and choose a font right now. And again, continuing further from left to right, you can set the height by just typing it in. In this case, let's say if your customer wants 3/4 inch high lettering, we'll type 0.75. You can control the amount of space between the letters by entering a space number or just clicking on a value. And also, once you find a value, you can further adjust the individual spaces between the letters. For example, between these two, they look a little close. And what we can do is adjust that by right-clicking, going into advanced spacing, and find those two particular letters. And we can increase that space as much as we want, or decrease. We click OK. And you can see the space is corrected, and we can continue to do that as much as we want to. Now, continuing from left to right, we can italicize the lettering if we want to. If we have more than one line of text, for example, if we put this text, customer's task, onto two different lines, we either have it left justified, centered, or moved along a right edge. We can choose whichever we want to. And also, continuing to the right, we also have frames, which lets us set about 9 different options here that give you some creative flexibility. You can create it on a slant, and we'll put this back all on one line so you can see how that appears. Or you can actually put it on a single box so that you can rearrange the box, either resizing it, or stretching it, or squeezing it together. Each one of the handles does something different, so feel free to experiment on your own. You can see that this one actually creates a stair-step effect, whereas this one all the way on the left lets you slant the letters for an artificial italicized effect as well. Play with each of the handles, and again, you'll find that all of them together give you quite a bit of flexibility as far as creating that custom look for your particular project. Finally, there's a couple of other different frames that people find pretty useful. If you want to arc your text, you can click on this one here that lets you put it on a vertical arc, arcing the bottom edge, or if you click on this dot right here and grab it, we can have both of them arced so that both edges are arced and we have that nice vertical arc look. There's another common arc that you'll actually find and that your potential customers might request, and that's placing it on a circle where the letters don't stay vertical, but they actually rotate with the curvature. And you can see how that the text is rotated around. We can also play with the controls or the handles along the edge to either control the curvature like we just did. We can make the height of the text different to make it larger or smaller. We even have little gates on the edges that we can either push together or further apart to control where that text falls on the arc. And we can even control the inner diameter to control how tight that text is going to curve around maybe an object or an emblem. If you wanted to, for example, import a stock design and then place some text really quickly around its edges. Once we've got it arranged the way we want to, we can either reset here or continue on to stitch it. Now, before we build stitches, just like in digitizing, we can right-click, go into embroidery settings, and either adjust all the characteristics of the stitches before they appear, pick from different stitch types. As you can see, we default to satin stitches, although we can fill it in with a fill stitch and other settings. And also, before we generate the stitches, we can also choose a different color by clicking on the color palette and either choosing from available thread colors or clicking it ourselves in this Windows color palette. Click OK and then finally stitch it, and the text appears generated in satin stitching. We have further control with the letters by clicking on an individual letter in our block list and controlling, for example, you can see the travel between these two letters. We can control what's happening between them by right-clicking and editing the connection and telling it whether we absolutely wanted to cut thread in between or leave a jump stitch or not ever cut the thread. In this case, I'm going to add a trim so that we don't have a connecting stitch, and we can basically continue all the way around to any place that we see that we want to control that connection. Again, just simply click on the frame, right-click, go to Edit Connection, and then make our choice as to whether we want our machine to cut or not. And you can see that the display updates immediately so that you can see that straight solid lines change to dashed lines wherever that's simply travel and there's no stitch there. And finally, we can break up the text into individual letters if we want to edit them independently. Clicking on Editing and splitting the text into characters so that if we wanted to, we can now edit letters individually, changing their colors, their characteristics, or anything else we want to do. And finally, if we're ready to sew, we simply go into Design, center it up, make sure that we're going to center it in our hoop, and then if we want to apply this for a particular kind of garment, click on Apply Fabric, choose whatever we're sewing this on. In this case, let's say a polo style shirt, and in this case, maybe a piqué net shirt. Stitch and Sew makes the adjustments accordingly so that it will sew well on whatever type of garment you choose. And finally, simply save it and give it an appropriate name. You have a wide variety of options to save it to. CHE is our master format, but for whatever machine that you want to save for, we have a wide variety of formats. In this case, we'll save to DST. Give it a name, click OK. That file is now ready to sew, taking it into the